What if I told you that being healthy could actually become unhealthy? Sounds ridiculous, right? We've spent years hearing messages like eat clean, never skip the gym, discipline equals success, and health is wealth. And honestly, most of that advice is good. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. Sometimes the healthiest looking people aren't actually healthy at all. They have the perfect body, the perfect meal prep, the perfect workout routine. Yet behind the scenes, they're exhausted. They're stressed. They're secretly binge eating. They're sleeping 4 hours a night. They're trapped in a cycle where their identity depends on looking healthy rather than actually feeling healthy. The scary part. Our culture doesn't reward balance anymore. It rewards extremes. And when everyone applauds your obsession, it's incredibly hard to recognize when you've crossed the line. Today, we're going to talk about something I'm calling the over-healthy trap. Why the healthiest person in the room isn't always the healthiest person in real life, trust me. This video might make you a little uncomfortable. Let's get into it. First, before anyone in the comments comes for me, let me be very clear. This is not an anti-health video or an attack on fitness. Exercise is incredible. Eating well matters. Taking care of your body is one of the best things you can do for yourself. But what we're talking about today is something different. It's what happens when someone builds their entire identity around being healthy, and then starts using that identity as a license to be reckless in other areas. Psychologists actually have a term for this. It's called moral licensing, the idea that when we do something good, our brain gives us unconscious permission to do something bad to balance it out. Example, I went to the gym, so the cigarette doesn't count. I ate a salad for lunch, so the 2 bottles of wine tonight are fine. And there's another concept called risk compensation, where people who feel protected start taking more risks because of that feeling of protection. These are real, documented psychological patterns, and today we're going to walk through exactly how they show up in the lives of people who consider themselves health conscious. Because here's the uncomfortable truth, you can be extremely fit and extremely unhealthy at the same time. And the people who fall into this trap the hardest are often the ones who were trying the hardest to be healthy in the first place. Section 3, the paradox of the healthy person with bad habits. Here's where things get interesting. Have you ever met someone who's incredibly fit, but somehow lives in complete chaos? They wake up at 5 a.m. They never miss leg day. They count every calorie. But they stay awake scrolling TikTok until 2 in the morning. Or maybe they spend the entire week eating grilled chicken, broccoli, and rice. Only to destroy 3 pizzas, 2 milkshakes, and half a tub of ice cream every Saturday night. Their logic is, I earned it. The workout becomes permission. The healthy habit becomes an excuse. It's a psychological phenomenon known as moral licensing. When we do something we consider good, we often feel we've earned the right to do something less healthy afterward. For instance, I ran 10 kilometers. So I deserve this entire cheesecake. I lifted weights today. So these 12 beers don't count. Believe that sound familiar? The problem isn't the occasional treat. Treats are part of a balanced lifestyle. The problem is when discipline becomes a transaction. Instead of asking, what does my body actually need? We ask, what have I earned? That's a dangerous mindset. And then there's sleep. Sleep is arguably the most powerful recovery tool your body has. Yet countless people obsess over supplements, protein timing, and expensive workout gear, while staying awake every night watching Netflix, gaming until 3 a.m., or endlessly scrolling social media. Think about how ironic that is. You'll spend $80 on a premium protein powder, but sacrifice the one thing science consistently shows improves nearly every aspect of health. Because sleep isn't glamorous. Nobody posts screenshots of 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep. Nobody flexes their bedtime routine on Instagram. But it's often more important than the latest superfood. The healthiest lifestyle isn't the one that looks impressive online. It's the one your body quietly thanks you for. Section 4, I exercise, so my smoking doesn't matter. Let's talk about one of the most persistent myths in this space. I run 3 miles a day. My lungs are fine. No. No, they are not. Exercise absolutely improves cardiovascular function, lung capacity, and circulation. That's real. But here's what exercise cannot do. It cannot filter out the benzene, the formaldehyde, the carbon monoxide, the tar, and the roughly 70 known carcinogens that go into your lungs every time you smoke a cigarette. Those things don't care about your VO2 max. Smoking damages arterial walls. It impairs your body's ability to absorb oxygen at the cellular level. It accelerates aging in your skin and your organs. Exercise builds capacity, smoking quietly destroys the foundation you're building on. And this isn't just cigarettes. Vaping sits in this same category for a lot of people. It's not as bad as cigarettes. Maybe. Maybe not. The long-term data is still catching up. But using your fitness as a justification to inhale anything your lungs weren't designed for is a gamble, and it's a gamble you're making on borrowed time. One healthy habit doesn't cancel out another harmful one. Your body keeps all the receipts. Section 5, Heavy Drinking as a Reward. Okay, this is a big one. And I know some of you are going to feel called out. That's okay. The gym-to-bar pipeline is real. Work hard all week, train hard on the weekend, and then absolutely demolish yourself on Friday and Saturday nights because you earned it, right? Here's the problem. You cannot out-train alcohol abuse. Period. Excessive drinking doesn't just affect your liver. It disrupts your sleep architecture, meaning even if you sleep 8 hours after a big night, you're getting almost none of the deep restorative sleep your body actually needs. It suppresses testosterone. It spikes cortisol, your stress hormone. It impairs muscle recovery and protein synthesis. It weakens your immune system. And over time, it damages the brain, the heart, and decision-making in ways that no amount of cardio can reverse. And here's the sneaky part, because your fitness buffers some of the visible effects, you don't gain weight as fast, you don't look as rough in the morning, it creates the illusion that you're handling it fine. You're not. You're just handling it more slowly. There's a reason high-functioning alcohol dependency is one of the hardest things to catch. Because from the outside, everything looks great. Fit body, successful life, active social calendar. The damage is happening on the inside, where nobody can see it, including, often, the person living it. Section 6, I look healthy, so I must be healthy. This one might be the most dangerous belief on this entire list. Looking healthy and being healthy are not the same thing. High blood pressure has no visible symptoms. Neither does elevated cholesterol, prediabetes, or early-stage heart disease. Some cancers grow silently for years before anyone notices. Mental health conditions don't show up on your abs. We've been conditioned to use appearance as a proxy for health, and in a culture obsessed with aesthetics, that's a genuinely deadly mistake. Some of the fittest-looking people have dropped dead from cardiac events because they never got a checkup. Not because they were lazy. Because they felt great, looked great, and assumed great. Your body is extraordinary at compensating. It will keep functioning, keep performing, keep looking fine, right up until the moment it can't anymore. Don't wait for a dramatic symptom to pay attention. Section 7, Careless Sexual Behavior. I'm going to say this carefully, but clearly. When people feel physically attractive and physically healthy, there's a documented psychological tendency to start feeling invincible in areas that have nothing to do with their fitness level. This shows up in sexual behavior. The thinking goes something like, I'm healthy. I take care of myself. I'm low risk. But being physically fit doesn't provide any protection from STIs. It doesn't reduce the emotional consequences of patterns that don't align with your values. It doesn't make reckless decisions less reckless. Physical health can create a kind of ego armor. And when that armor makes people less careful, less communicative with partners, less inclined to practice safe sex, more likely to make impulsive decisions they wouldn't make otherwise, it's not protecting them. It's exposing them to risk they've convinced themselves doesn't apply to them. Health is holistic. Sexual health is health. They're not separate categories. Section 8. Ignoring medical checkups. Quick one, but it matters. If you feel healthy, you go to the doctor less. That's the data. And it makes intuitive sense. Why go when nothing's wrong? But preventive care isn't for when something feels wrong. It's for finding the things that don't feel wrong yet. Regular blood work, cardiovascular screenings, skin checks, dental care, cancer screenings, these exist because the human body doesn't always announce its problems early. Feeling great is not a diagnostic tool. If you haven't had a proper checkup in the last year because you feel fine, that's the over-healthy trap talking. Book the appointment. You don't get bonus points for staying out of the doctor's office. Section 9. Using fitness to justify sleep deprivation. Sleep is not a lifestyle choice. It's a biological non-negotiable. And yet, in hustle culture, which has deeply merged with fitness culture, sleep deprivation has been repackaged as dedication. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Cool. At this rate, that timeline is being moved up. Here's what happens when you consistently sleep under 7 hours, your cortisol stays elevated. Your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, go out of whack, making you crave high-sugar, high-fat foods. Your cognitive performance declines in ways you're often too tired to notice. Your immune system weakens. Your emotional regulation deteriorates. And all of that muscle you're working so hard for in the gym? Most of it is built while you sleep. So you're literally undercutting your own results. You can't exercise your way out of sleep debt. Every night you short yourself, you're borrowing energy from tomorrow, and the debt compounds. Section 10. Extreme work stress. As long as I work out in the morning, I can grind 80 hours a week. Exercise is one of the most effective stress management tools we have. It reduces cortisol, boosts endorphins, improves mood and focus. That's all true. But here's what it cannot do: eliminate the consequences of living in a permanent state of chronic stress. Chronic stress, the kind that comes from relentless work pressure, financial anxiety, toxic environments, and never actually switching off, rewires your nervous system over time. It raises baseline inflammation. It damages your cardiovascular system. It contributes to burnout, depression, and anxiety. Exercise can take the edge off. It can give you a window of relief. But if you use that window to tell yourself everything's fine and keep pushing, you're not managing stress. You're managing your awareness of stress. Those are two very different things. Section 11. Abusing energy drinks and stimulants. The pre-workout culture is real, and for many people it's sliding from occasional boost to full-blown dependency. 3 scoops of pre-workout. 2 energy drinks. An extra coffee. Black market stimulants because the legal stuff stopped working. Caffeine is a drug. And high doses, especially over time, dysregulate your central nervous system, spike your blood pressure, disrupt sleep even when you don't feel wired, and create anxiety loops that are really hard to break. Being physically fit does not make your nervous system invincible. Your adrenal glands don't care how many pull-ups you can do. Push them hard enough for long enough, and they will push back, in the form of adrenal fatigue, hormonal dysregulation, and mood instability that no amount of exercise will fix. The gym is supposed to build you up. But if you need a chemical rocket to get through every session, that's worth paying attention to. Section 12. Ignoring mental health. And here it is. The big one. One of the most enduring myths in fitness culture is, if I exercise enough, I won't have to deal with my mental health. Exercise helps with depression. Exercise helps with anxiety. The research is clear and it's compelling. But it does not cure either of them. And it absolutely cannot process unresolved trauma, grief, relational wounds, or the deep emotional patterns that shape how we live. A strong body cannot permanently carry an unaddressed emotional burden. It will try. It will work really hard. But eventually, the weight shows up somewhere, in burnout, in relationship breakdowns, in addiction, in that hollow feeling that creeps in even on the days everything went perfectly. The gym can be a coping mechanism. And coping mechanisms are only a problem when they become the only tool you have, when the answer to every emotional challenge is just, go harder. Therapy, journaling, honest conversations, sitting with discomfort, these are not soft options for people who can't handle things. They're the work that keeps everything else sustainable. Section 13, Becoming Judgmental. This one's subtle but corrosive. When health becomes identity, it can quietly become morality. And then it becomes superiority. You start looking at people who don't train with a particular kind of pity, or contempt. You mentally file people by their food choices. You catch yourself thinking, they'd feel better if they just had more discipline. You use wellness vocabulary to subtly put people down. This is a trap. And it's a lonely one. Health is not a moral achievement. Your body is not a character reference. And the judgment you think you're directing outward? A lot of it is fear directed inward, fear that the moment you stop performing healthy, you'll lose the identity you've built. That's not freedom. That's a cage with a really nice aesthetic. Section 14, Social Influence and Peer Pressure. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. Your health isn't shaped only by your choices. It's shaped by the people around you. Humans are social creatures. We copy what we see. We imitate our friends. We mirror the habits of our environment. Now add social media to that equation. Suddenly you're comparing yourself with people whose full-time job is looking healthy. Perfect lighting. Perfect angles. Perfect abs. Perfect breakfast bowls. Perfect morning routines. Except, most of it isn't real. You see 15 seconds. You don't see the anxiety. The sponsorship deals. The pressure to stay relevant. The editing. The filters. Or the dozens of photos that never made the post. And then something strange happens. Health becomes performance. Instead of asking, am I healthy? We ask, do I look healthy enough for other people? That's a completely different question. Some influencers sell wellness products. Then admit they barely sleep because they're editing videos all night. Some promote balance, while surviving on caffeine and stress. Others preach clean living. Then spend weekends binge drinking at exclusive parties. It's not hypocrisy because they're bad people. It's because maintaining an image is exhausting. The image becomes the job. And once your income depends on appearing healthy, sometimes appearing healthy becomes more important than actually being healthy. The same thing happens in everyday life. Maybe your friends expect you to drink every weekend. So you do. Because saying no feels awkward. Or maybe everyone at your gym celebrates cheat days by eating enough calories for 3 days in one night. So you join in. Not because you're hungry, but because you don't want to feel left out. That's the hidden power of peer pressure. It doesn't always tell you to be unhealthy. Sometimes it tells you to pretend you're healthier than you really are. And that pressure can be just as damaging. Section 15, Relationships and Emotional Neglect. Here's something nobody tells you about chasing the perfect lifestyle. Sometimes, the healthier your body becomes, the more neglected your relationships become. Now, before anyone misunderstands this, making time for exercise is a good thing. Setting boundaries around your health is important. But when every conversation, every weekend, and every family gathering revolves around your workout schedule, your meal plan, or your next fitness goal, people start to feel like they're competing with your lifestyle. Have you ever canceled dinner with friends because it didn't fit your meal plan? Skipped your child's birthday cake because you were afraid of ruining your progress? Turned down every vacation because there might not be a gym nearby? At first, these choices can seem harmless. But over time, they send a message. My routine matters more than our relationship. The irony is that one of the strongest predictors of a long, healthy life isn't having visible abs. It's having meaningful relationships. Study after study has shown that people with strong social connections tend to live longer, recover better from illness, and report higher levels of happiness than those who are socially isolated. In other words, your weekly dinner with family might be doing more for your long-term health than obsessing over whether your chicken was grilled or baked. Then there's emotional availability. Some people become incredibly disciplined physically. Because it's easier than dealing with what's happening emotionally. It's easier to count calories than to process grief. It's easier to add another workout than to have a difficult conversation. It's easier to focus on building muscle than rebuilding trust after an argument. Fitness can become a safe place. And there's nothing wrong with that. Until it becomes a hiding place. Real strength isn't only measured by how much weight you can lift. It's also measured by your ability to apologize. To forgive. To be vulnerable. To sit with uncomfortable emotions instead of running from them. Then there's dating. Physical attraction matters. There's no point pretending it doesn't. But sometimes people stay in unhealthy relationships simply because they're attracted to someone's appearance. The relationship is full of manipulation. Poor communication. Constant arguments. But they convince themselves everything is fine because, at least we're both into fitness. Shared gym memberships don't replace shared values. A great physique can attract someone. It can't sustain a healthy relationship. Section 16, the lack of self-control disguised as discipline. Alright, this is the one that's going to sting a little. There is a specific type of person who is extremely disciplined in their fitness routine, same workout, same time, same meals, and has absolutely zero self-regulation anywhere else. Full binge sessions after weeks of clean eating. Impulsive purchases that don't match their values. Emotional explosions that come out of nowhere. Substance use that contradicts everything they post about. Chaotic relationships that mirror none of the intention they bring to the gym. This is not a coincidence. For some people, the rigid fitness routine is actually compensating for the chaos everywhere else. It's the one area where they feel control, and the stranglehold they maintain there requires the release happening everywhere else. The binge is the pressure valve for the restriction. The chaos is the cost of the control. Discipline in one domain is not the same as self-awareness across all of them. And here's the hard thing about self-awareness, it requires looking at the parts of yourself you've been training really hard not to look at. Section 17, the fix, balance over perfection. So, what's the solution? Do we stop exercising? Of course not. Do we eat whatever we want? Definitely not. The answer isn't less health. It's healthier health. That means shifting your goal from perfection to sustainability. Instead of asking, what's the healthiest thing I can possibly do? Ask, what's the healthiest thing I can realistically keep doing for the next 10 years? Because consistency beats intensity every single time. Eat nutritious food most of the time. And enjoy dessert without guilt once in a while. Train your body. But also give it permission to rest. Take care of your appearance. But don't build your entire identity around it. Invest in your muscles. But invest just as much in your friendships. Call your parents. Spend time with your partner without checking your fitness tracker every 10 minutes. Go for a walk without turning it into a competition. Remember, your body isn't a machine that needs to be optimized every second of every day. It's the place where your life happens. The goal isn't to become the healthiest person on Instagram. The goal is to become someone who genuinely enjoys being alive. Because health should give you freedom, not take it away. Similarly, you can consider integration. Not balance as in equal amounts of everything, that's not realistic. Integration as in, your health efforts actually connect to the rest of your life, instead of existing in their own silo while everything else burns. A few practical things. 1. Audit the full picture. Once a month, honest check-in. Not just, did I hit my workouts? But, how's my sleep? How are my relationships? How am I processing stress? What am I using to numb out? No judgment, just data. 2. Question the narrative. When you catch yourself saying, "I can afford to do X because I work out," pause. That's moral licensing showing up. Ask yourself, if I didn't work out, would I think this was a good idea? If the answer is no, the workout didn't change the answer. 3. Let your body be more than a project. Your body is not a before and after photo. It's the thing carrying you through every conversation, every loss, every ordinary Tuesday. When you treat it like a construction site, you miss the relationship you could be building with it. 4. Do the inner work too. If the idea of sitting with a therapist feels more threatening than a hard leg day, that's information. The gym can be a place you go to process. It can also be a place you go to avoid processing. Know which one it is on any given day. 5. Stop using health to perform. Health that's fundamentally about how you look to other people will never feel like enough. Build health habits that make you feel better in the life you're actually living, not the one you're curating for the internet. Here's what I want to leave you with. 1. The greatest danger of over-healthiness isn't eating too much broccoli or spending too much time in the gym. It's believing that your healthy habits give you a free pass to ignore every other area of your life. Health isn't a bank account where you deposit workouts and withdraw reckless decisions. Every choice has its own consequence. Real health is holistic. It's how you eat, how you sleep, how you manage stress, how you treat people, how you protect yourself, and how wisely you live. You can't outrun poor decisions, outlift chronic stress, or outdiet reckless behavior. 2. Being healthy is not a destination. It's not a rank you achieve that exempts you from being human. And it is absolutely not a substitute for doing the harder, quieter, less photogenic work of actually knowing yourself. The goal isn't to be the fittest person in the room. It's to be the most whole version of yourself. And wholeness includes the parts of your life that don't make it into your fitness routine. The biggest danger is believing that one healthy behavior gives you permission to ignore everything else. Real health isn't about having one impressive habit. It's about creating a balanced life where your physical, mental, emotional, social, sexual, and financial health all move in the same direction. So, quick question for the comments: what's the one area of your life your healthy habits have been giving you a free pass to ignore? I'm genuinely curious. No judgment. Just honesty. If this video made you think, even a little uncomfortable, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Not to call them out. Just because real conversations about this stuff are rare, and they matter. And if you're new here, subscribe. Because this is the kind of content we do. Not just what to eat and how to train, but how to actually live. I'll see you in the next one.